You heard what I said. This Sunday is an all-day event where Dr. Judy is going to lay out, okay, from COVID to cancer and everything in between. If you want the nitty-gritty truth and you're ready for it, okay, you're ready to take the red pill, she has 18, okay, doctors, scientists, researchers coming on to discuss what the new world looks like. And when I say this, I don't mean New World Order. I mean the new world where we actually take our power back and give it back to all of our brave hearts around the world so they can become their own practitioners. What do you think, Judy?
I think that's the idea. That we need to be our own teachers, our own doctors, exactly, and our own practitioners once we learn ourselves. It's going to be so much fun to teach you. I'm excited about it.
Everybody, you don't want to miss this. If you go to bhnuniversity.com, you can download the Zoom link and come live on Zoom. And just know that Judy's also going to be doing 2 Q&As after Sunday. Okay, one will be on the Monday and one will be on the Wednesday. We'll be telling you those times. But if you go to BHN University, you'll see that we're starting tomorrow at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Is that correct, Rafa? 11 o'clock Eastern Standard? On Sunday, I mean. On Sunday, we're starting at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so mark that down. And you'll be able to come on any of the other platforms, whether you're talking about Facebook or Rumble or BitChute or Doc of Detox, Telegram. Where else, Rafa? And Facebook, of course. Okay, so yeah, you'll want to check us there. And as you can see, Rafa just put the slide up. Put it up again, would you, buddy? And as you can see, we're talking about Sunday, and then you can see the 2 Q&As. One Monday live. It's at 12 until 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be Judy that'll be answering all your questions. And then again on Wednesday. So you know what? All the questions that you've ever wanted to ask her, come and get her. And if it's longer than the Q&A time we spelled out, it'll be up to Judy, but she'll stay there as long as she can to answer all your questions. That's what Judy does. She gives, and gives some more. Okay? All right, Judy. I want to ask you a question, Judy. Why do you do what you do?
It's my calling from God. Honestly, from the time I was born, because I'm an identical twin, but actually quite the day in my life was June 5th, 1968. And that happens to be the day Bobby Kennedy Sr. was assassinated. And I was in Washington, D.C., basically. My parents got divorced. We ended up in Washington, D.C., and my grandfather, the Cherokee Indian, I'm just saying, Granddaddy, why are they killing pastors and leaders? And, what's going on? And so he was telling me about, God and faith and things like that. And I, I was crying because I got myself in trouble by getting kicked out of Catholic school in Michigan because I don't do hypocrisy. I don't do hypocrisy, and I don't do, you know, I don't do religion. We're one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. We're sovereign beings, and according to the generations, our lineage. So as an identical twin, my grandfather stopped me from crying by basically saying, you're the most special of all because you get the road not taken. You get to maintain the stem cell lineage, the lineage. And so I've always thought about it of a special anointing from God. This is my purpose. My identical twin got the handsome husband and 3 handsome sons. And I got you. And so, no, I'm kidding. We're doing great. But I was free that day. at 10 years old to be bold, to take the road not taking and just trust God all the way, but really listening is important and leading in love. So I do what I do because I know love wins if we just work together. It's easy to spread the love. It's so much more difficult to make it complicated, and it's really very simple. God gave us everything on this beautiful earth and every person on it when He formed the universe. Right there in the book of Genesis, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word is love. And that's where, and so that is okay. When we can do this on this earth and use everything God's given us for food, for our happiness, for our liberty, and then our founding fathers here in the United States of America, they fought for that. They gave up their lives. They dedicated their lives, their fortune, and most importantly, their sacred honor in the next. And so our fortunes are easy to take away, but our sacred honor is will honor you, our brothers, because we're one nation under God. So that's why I do this, is because it's my purpose and I know it, and so I can just keep fighting the fight, and knowing God's got this.
Okay, and can we run through and talk just about a few of the highlights of some of the people that are going to honor us with their presence? And understand, everyone, this day is going to be jam-packed. So every 20 minutes, we're going to have another leading speaker come to you and share what they believe is really important for the message. Okay, and maybe you can share with some of the people on who's going to be joining us on Sunday.
Well, one of the big ones is, of course, Mickey Willis. So you can't talk about heroes and healers of the faith without understanding the patience of that man to talk to me for much more than a year in
Well,
a
who is he?
setting that I
But
can
who
only
can we
link.
talk, Judy? Can we first? Can
Ah,
you tell us who he is?
yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that may not know.
Ah, Mickey Willis, filmmaker, Plandemic. So, Plandemic, Mickey Willis, he's a filmmaker. If you read his book or watch plandemic.com, he'll tell you who he is. And he tells you again who he is in faith, who he is as a human, who his purpose is, and how that he's a beautiful human being. I met him through one of his friends who happened to be a dentist, and was in a meeting, and she told Mickey, "You just have to see this book, Plague of Corruption." So, Plandemic is the movie that is based on the book Plague of Corruption, which published April 14th of 2020. And the movie, Plandemic, first aired May 4th, 2020. And when he hit the send button on the computer, he said, "May the 4th be with us," because he knew on May 4th that the whole world was going to blow up, because that's what a dead man's trigger is. So he taught me, have something that guarantees, if even an angstrom, 10 to the minus 12, I think, is an angstrom. Even an angstrom of energy flows between your fingers and the trigger. You're wearing a bomb-filled vest, and the whole world blows up. And so he took on that in faith, knowing we both got huge threats. He had to leave California, and I had to leave Carlsbad and come back to Ventura. So yeah, we knew it was going to be tough, and that's a hero when he comes in and he doesn't leave you. And when we get frustrated over the last 5 years since May 4th, 2020, because you don't see God working and you're like, too many people are dying. How can we, this is always going to be my passion, that people not be suffered and suffering and kill. Of course, there's suffering on this earth. When you follow Jesus, you're going to get it more than most. Oh, well, you're going to get it. That's what we're told. But at the end of the day, it's the angels, it's the people that God sends. And for me, it just at this level of my journey, the books stay censored, everything stays censored, and nobody can hear you because the noise on the TV screen so much. So this filmmaker with that nice calm voice sits down there and asks me, we're frustrated. We've been talking together for months. And I'm looking at my phone because my friend's yelling at me saying, you're wasting his time. And she's yelling, or his friend is yelling at me. She wasn't my friend. I just met her. And she said, you're wasting his time. And she told him the same thing. You're wasting her time. And so one day we realized that we'd just been tricked. And I like to use the movie Good Will Hunting. So here we're forced in a psychiatrist's chair, and you're gonna go back to jail if you don't con this guy, but you don't trust anybody if you're me, from what I've been through in the last 40 years. Actually, today, June 6, 1983, is, of course, D-Day was 82, 84 years, whatever ago. But D-Day, June 6, 1983, is the first day I started working for Frank Rossetti, Luc Montagnier, Candace Pert. So, some of those, how I learned about John Richardson and how I learned about this plague of corruption that didn't start in 2019. It started a really long time ago. So the people it's been a long journey for me, 40 however many years, and we've lost everything, including the murders of many people in America with the bioweapons. And it wasn't just the one in 2019. So Mickey is that guy that listened to me, and he sat there that day and said, my brother died of AZT. And I was just looking at my phone and trying to make the time go by. And I looked up and I said, don't you mean A, AIDS? And I couldn't even get the words out of my mouth before I started crying. And I'm like, oh no, because I knew of Arthur Ashe. I knew of Ryan White. Oh no, he was, of course, Magic Johnson, my PhD thesis, 1991. I said, oh no, he was antibody positive. And Mickey just was crying. And I'm still crying now, so I might not be able to do this on Sunday. No, I will. But because the tears are really of joy. Oh no, he was immune. So they killed him when they tested him positive. And see, when we start to realize the fear factor in their bioweapon, so the heroes of the faith, and again, as we were talking earlier today, before the show, I could have put 50 people up there, and some were busy this weekend. So we'll do it again in 6 months. And I hope to participate with new friends like Simone Gold, who weren't in that underlying hero world, but were, in fact, were in their faith. I just didn't know it. I didn't know her until 2024. And so I knew of her, but before she, and so I'm so excited because we're going to talk with a doctor from Gold Care. So the heroes of the faith were people that, when I was screaming like Mickey, could walk away and just understand that hurt people hurt people. When you're in pain, you can't sleep. When you can't sleep, you can't heal. So how do your friends with love get you out of pain? Well, you would do it with music, like Mickey in Plandemic the Musical. It's funny. So Mickey in his movies, when he made them, and so it's good that I can say this today, because when he made the movies, the first Plandemic was just 26 minutes, where at the end of it, and I talked to him for months, almost a year, hundreds of thousands of hours of tape, you and me crying or upset. But what he shows is just one question. And he says, at the end of that movie, he said, "What do you tell everyone today?" And I don't even remember saying it. And I thought a long time because, and I said, forgive yourselves and forgive each other. And it goes right to the Braveheart Nation motto. If we don't forgive ourselves, forgiveness, we love him because he loved us first. I've always struggled with that part of the Bible. We love God because he loved us first. And of course, now I understand what that means, but I was scratching my head with that as a child back there getting kicked out of Catholic school in 1968 in Washington, D.C., where my grandfather lived. And of course, just going through when people have to go through the levels of trauma like you do so well with the Braveheart Nation. And that's why I'm delighted to be reunited with you, because that's through the meeting last Thanksgiving. So Michael Carlfelt is another one, the Carlfelt Center. His book, A Better Way to Treat Cancer. Well, how do I know Michael? Well, Misty Carlfelt, his wife, who was literally told she had 6 months to live, I think somewhere around 2008 or so, and is sitting in a parking lot crying to God outside the Carlfelt Center, or whatever it was called at the time. And here, a naturopathic PhD and MD, and he's got a book out now on Amazon called A Better Way to Treat Cancer. And so, like you, using the red lights, using understanding C60, understanding physics, understanding plants especially, and plants in the language they speak and the energies they impart, and how to get that light into our system. How do we let the light shine through the darkness, through the layers? That's where I like to go with that. But I mean, I met her in 2015 or so, and we were in Los Angeles, and the story is very funny because she does Health Freedom Idaho, of course, and they just liberated through Leslie Minuki, and another one we couldn't get this time, but I hope to get the next time. So we'll talk about Health Freedom Idaho with Misty. Maybe she'll pop on with Michael. We will never have enough time, but we were in the Los Angeles courthouse. Travis Middleton, me, Candace Estave, who's a very important person in this, just human beings who stepped up. Misty, me, and Travis Middleton. We're all sharing a hotel room in Los Angeles, and we're going to go testify to stop kids from getting injected. And of course, they gave you the 1904 Supreme Court decision, which of course Leslie Minuki and company in Idaho just beat. Now they're saying, oh, wait a minute, you can't use that for this. So I say, three white women and a black man in a hotel in Los Angeles near the prison. What can possibly go wrong? It's funny when you look back at the situations. That's why, Sunday isn't going to be a science lesson. Sunday's going to be like church. Sunday's going to be all of us showing how in some of our darkest moments, God shows up through an angel. And you're one of those angels. And of course, I'm so blessed that you started these shows with me and for me, and taught me how you do it, because it's important to take your success and build on it. So I like to hear, I'm like, okay, what I need the I formula for a lady that's going to get laser therapy. And I know you can tell me and how to apply that in a way where the doctors are going to give her the laser therapy. And she's got the glaucoma. Of course, the pressure is raising in the eye. What was the name of that again? And let's get it, if we can get it out. The laser won't hurt, but when you're support, I mean, it can hurt. if you're not supported by the nutrition in the eye, by the fluid that is your normal fluids that are built up. We're calling things like dry eye. And they say on TV, oh, the number one cause of dry eye is too fast tear evaporation. Well, that's not a cause of anything. Have you too
That's
fast?
just something made up. And you know what? I think people really need to. Well, it scares me when people actually believe this stuff and they actually pass it on. Judy, you must deal with it like I deal with it, where somebody wants to talk for 10 minutes and everything they've been told is actually built on BS. The whole thing. And then what you want to do is you got to be patient and go back through with them and then show them the domino effect of truth.
Right. Exactly. I love that. The domino effect of truth, because that's what we're going to be doing on Sunday.
Absolutely.
And the domino effect happens when you need it, and sometimes you don't even know it. So we're also going to talk to Dr. I call him Dr. Aleem, and he's all the way back in 1968, a young man, and that he was the minister of health for the Nation of Islam,
Oh,
and
wow.
they formulated the Paximune, which is actually your only true vaccine. Because what is it? Bovine proteins in saline, and it's a nasal spray, and you can use it as a throat spray. Of course, the FDA in their corruption only won't allow anybody to sell it. That goes as far back as when I started this journey after college, after the University of Virginia, while I was a senior on March 31st, 1980. I graduated May 18th, 1980. So I'm at the University of Virginia, Thomas Jefferson, another founding father. I'm only reading the Founder's Bible, because how do you discern between truth and non-truth? The Founder's Bible. And then
Can you
I've got the
explain?
American.
Judy? I'm not trying to cut you off, love.
It's all right.
Can you
It's all right,
explain
sweetie.
why the Founder's Bible?
Is so important. So it says the origin of the dream of freedom. So our founding fathers, and this is called, you fill it out, our family tree of life, our family tree of life, and you put in all the names, because this is in our Constitution and all the way back to our Revolutionary War. This is edited by David Barton, and it's a Bible nation. That's who America is. We're one nation under God. So the Bible and America both enjoy unprecedented success. And so this is the New King James Version, which we use at Godspeak Church in Thousand Oaks. But this is what our founding fathers, as they're facing what they faced in the 1600s and the 1700s, and the Declaration of Independence, July 2nd, by the time it got to the Pony Express got it to where it needed to be finished signing, it was July 4th. But they debated this, and they were a team of rivals. But at the same time, as I said a little bit earlier, one of the quotes in there, in Second Chronicles, I believe, what happens in this book is they go through, and right here in Leviticus, they'll tell you who wrote Leviticus, and then that follows the book of Exodus, and it's the Ten Commandments and the moral law for nations. So four spheres of jurisdiction are established in the Bible. They are the individual, the family, the civil government, and the church. God establishes the levels of governance. So you see, we're not one nation under government. We're one nation under God, in or religion. It doesn't say that. The word, it's one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That means at the foundation, as I always use on that last slide of Thomas Jefferson, and I have on my other table here a Pulitzer Prize winning book by John Meacham called Thomas Jefferson, The Art of Power, because the art of power is your words. He wrote them better like Moses. He wrote them better than he said them. And so I literally will sit during the week and read the King James Version according to the God Speak app, Pastor Rob McCoy, because he's my teacher. He's my teacher in the history. He's my teacher in the Bible because, my husband was murdered, and Rob McCoy is a man that honors the promise of the church to take care of the widows and the orphans. And you're not an orphan until you don't have a father. So the church has a responsibility. And who failed this country? The church. And again, how do we do that when the church is shut down? How do we do that when we're called? We're called to love our neighbor as ourselves. And that means standing in it, the Ecclesiastes, in the town square and showing it. So if we don't know our founding fathers, if we don't know, I call him the head of the Department of Education of the United States of America. And that founding father is Noah Webster. And Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary doesn't even have the word immunization in it. Why is that important? So I looked up immunity, 1828. I looked up immunity, and it says freedom from government tyranny. And you look up and oh, yeah, that would be immunity. Well, they gave themselves immunity, or they gave themselves pardon from the satanic. So why it matters is because, and I laugh because how good is God to stick with me now? I mean, how long has it been? Since 1968, and how old am I? 67. Okay, it's been a while. So 57. So the day his father was shot, Robert Kennedy, Bobby was 13 years old. So puberty and 10-year-olds are very important times in life. So we come up to be friends. And I couldn't get Bobby on this particular show because Secretary Kennedy's a little bit busy and my friend Bobby's not free yet. He's pretty busy. But so the reason why these books in this education matters is because we're being lied to as a people. We're being lied to about the nations. We're being lied to about who the nations were and who the sojourners were and the pilgrims. Exodus, the first five books of the Bible, essentially every religion in America believes some part of the Pentateuch. I'm learning about it, but I think it's called that, the first five books of the Bible. So you see, our founding fathers knew the Old Testament, George Washington. So Rob McCoy, I have this coaster that says from George Washington, a quote from George Washington: first, make sure it's of God. Then do it with your whole heart, mind, your whole body, heart, mind, soul, and strength. So your soul, your soul, you have to know, And I'm like, a couple years ago, I'm like, well, how do you know, Rob? And you just look at the book. And so I get a little frustrated when those folks call, like you're just saying. Um, and they're like, and everything is wrong. And you just said the right words. You love them. And in the patience, you're like patience with them. And so often I've been losing my temper a little bit more than usual. because they ramp up the flames when they want to get us, and that's when I go back every now and again for a little counsel from Pastor Rob, as I did earlier this week. And it's just somebody to talk to. So the gratitude I have for you the last 6 months, when you saw me in November of last year with John Richardson. He'll also be here, which I'll be delighted to see him on Sunday, because I realized, and you took me back into the vault, and we did that one show live, and some of my friends saw it from the Brave. I think of my friend Barb, and she's a completed Jew. She's a Messianic Jew, and she's just, but it's tough because there are a lot of wounds and a lot of healing. So she watches you, and like you say, the audience you reach, if you reach everyone, no matter the sect of their religion, which simply means relingare. The Latin word is relingare. How do you relink with the Creator? How do you relink with divinity? How do you get back into the light? Well, that's what you do in the healing the mind. And so when you're calm and when you take the time and patience, 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 patience. And I'm learning it through you, and I appreciate you for that.
Well, you know what? I understand your anger, and because we just can't stand beside and see all this wrongdoing, and you know, but the reality is, I think that they win when we get angry.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's what I said to Rob. He said, "Oh, that's that." He said, "You're looking real good," and I'm like, okay. And he said, "Yeah, that anger thing, it's not a good look on you." And it just and he mentioned Pocahontas. No, I did, and I mean, and I'm not laughing at her. I appreciate that pain. And that's why I use that term, because the people who don't know that is, I'm never going to say a bad word about another human, because I know what it's like to be in those places where you be lied to. So people that we see on TV each night in our government that are screaming because they know they've been lied to, not only for this year, but all the way back, and that now they can start to see their children and their grandchildren being injured, which almost everyone in that confirmation hearing had a relative that had something. And you're going to hear another hero of the faith, healer of the faith, Dr. Christina Parks. So Dr. Christina Parks, also of the Nation of Islam, and a fabulous healer in Michigan. Well, she's the one that's been testifying, the only PhD, the only true scientist that's been in front of Ron Johnson and Congress. And that's so critically important. And I used to be frustrated because she's young. She got her PhD in 1999. So I know what she knows about cytokine signaling is only a half truth. But she speaks the truth in love to the people in these hearings, and she says what I'm thinking, and I never get mad because I know that God put the right person in the right place at the right time, and that's the key to healing. And so I'm grateful to Ron Johnson. And it's interesting because we were talking to Ron Johnson back in 2016, 17. Who wouldn't talk to Ron Johnson or Bobby Kennedy? Oh, Frank Rossetti, because he's too bitter and he's too angry. My mentor, 42 years ago today, 43 years ago today, I started working for him. And you hear it in our book, Ending Plague. You can hear how bitter and angry he is. So I wasn't bitter when I got baptized by Pastor Rob McCoy on the Sunday after Thanksgiving in 2023. And I wasn't, but he said to me, he said, no more bitter, no more anger. And I realized that I thought to myself, even as he said it, I'm not bitter. But my mother is. So my mother's bitterness, the trauma of my mother, who they also murdered with the bioweapon, with the Eliquis, with the into January 22nd, 2019. So in 2019, I atrogenic. Oh, that means the genesis of the diseases are medical mistakes, whether it's at the level of the drug or the practitioner that just doesn't want you to know because they haven't taken this journey into self-love that you so patiently go through people. And that's why I'm really excited to learn every time we get on here. I don't want to hear me talk. I want to hear what you know so I can keep doing this. I love the clapper, and my nephew was here a few weeks ago, did a little belly button therapy, and he's like, wow, Aunt Judy, because he's my kid. So he's genetically identical to me. He's the youngest, and the youngest is the most severely injured. They're military, they're the heaviest vaccinated anywhere. And they're gorgeous and they're athletes and they have control over their voice because their mom keeps them, my identical twin, keeps them living this way. So we got the road not taken, but we're always going to have the same response. She was very mad at me because I recommended Gardasil in about 2007, 8, 9. Well, why? Because I was lied to about what HPV was, but I knew that I had a positive pap smear as a 22-year-old. I knew I had the expression of a poison, a virus that was not in balance with the rest of my system. Endogenous, yes, not endogenized. We didn't evolve from monkeys. So that first time I'm talking to Pastor Rob McCoy, he's looking at his. I couldn't get him on Sunday because he's on his way to Israel, but we'll have him soon. But I'm looking at my he's looking at the phone as I'm talking to him, and I'm showing all the pathways, and I'm like, pay attention to me, He always says, but I don't ever say that because I love him. And I'm afraid to say anything because he hears the Holy Spirit better than I do right now. But so he's looking at his phone, and I'm like, and he says to me, he interrupts me, and he says, Judy, have you ever seen the subtitle? Have you ever seen the subtitle of Darwin's thesis? And I'm thinking, okay, natural selection. Yeah, okay, what's that thing? Because I ignore evolution. That it's not what you think. It was twisted. There is never been a transmutation, a transhumanism, or a transplant. You can't graft certain kinds of plants onto the trunk. You can't. I did biological grafting all the way back at the University of Virginia when we didn't have molecular technologies. How do you graft one species on another? You can't. If you get a mule and a horse or a donkey, you get sterility. And the species doesn't reproduce. So, we don't marry for reproduction. That's not why God gave man woman. He gave man woman so he wouldn't be lonely. So the persons, we're not persons. And so when I said, okay, Rob, no, I don't know. So he stopped me from talking, and it said, or right there from the found, it said, or. in the struggle for life. And I just slapped myself in the head. There is no favored race. There is no favored race. It's right here in the word. But if we don't know our history, we don't know our nation. We can make America great again. America never was a slave nation. We didn't ship people over here from Ethiopia. And my African American friends will get mad at me and say, Judy, I'm not African American. I'm Cherokee or I'm Choctaw. Avery Jackson. He'll be on. Avery Jackson. You're going to hear also from Michigan a neurosurgeon who will talk about the first time we met, which was an Autism One meeting in 2016. And so when we remember the days we met, he was the only one in an audience of MDs in a CE or CME of Autism One, Terry Aranga and Ed Aranga. And all our sick kids with these brain diseases. So he's sitting there as I had to take the place of a beautiful doctor who had written a book on cannabinoids, and I'll try to find it. But he died. He died suddenly because the doctors and nurses nosocomial, in Mickey Willis's Plandemic. What are we going to do without the problems with the blacks is William Thompson's notebook. That goes back to Children's Health Defense. The problem of the problem of I'm sorry, lost my train of thought here.
That's
But
okay. That's okay,
when
love.
we hear these speakings, David Martin, indoctrination. So we'll have Stan Graham there too, and we'll talk about the first time. Why does David Martin matter to this story? Because of another one of my dear friends, Caroline Chang. So Caroline Chang knows Christina Parks and lives in upstate Pennsylvania, some of that area, I think. And so she was with me at a meeting in July, a Clay Clark meeting of Awaken America in 2022 in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And the locations matter, but more importantly, who's there and who's not. So we shared a room because it was expensive. And we basically talked all night long because we realized we're both Cherokee. And so I understand her injured children, and she didn't even know at the time that they were vaccine injured. She said they didn't get vaccines. And I said, you did, because our founding fathers, like my grandfather, was poisoned. We were put on reservations. Our corn was modified. That's not corn. Our cows were fed it all the way back to when you got in trouble, I should say, for saying it was the cow's milk. Yeah, you and I intersect all the way back in 1986, and we didn't know it until recently. I had no idea
Yeah,
until
if
recently.
I can say this, I wrote an
Yeah.
article called Scary Dairy, okay? And I had the dairy board come after me, and they were going to sue me for $250,000 because of what yeah,
Right.
that's all. You
Exactly.
know,
And so I was working for Upjohn. My job was to prove that bovine growth hormone or somatostatin, they just call it something like that, so you won't know it's bovine growth hormone. Ah, why does that matter? Oh, because if you feed that to cows, they will only get fat, and the milk will not be nutritious, and the milk won't have the natural vaccines, Paximune. You won't, the vaccine from the 1828 Webster's Dictionary means vaca, the Latin. We've got to know our Latin. I was once a Latin scholar. I've forgotten a bit of it now, but my mom forced me to do this. The Cherokee. My mom's maiden name my mom's mother is Willis. Fur is the Cherokees. So Mickey Willis, that day when he's like, my brother died of AZT, and how I always stay calm in that chair, even though we were being threatened outside the door, and I don't really know how, is because I'm looking into the eyes of my grandmother, Hazel Willis, with those hazel, and Mickey and I aren't related, but well, maybe we are through the generations because his sister is Judy Ann. The brother who died is Russell, but his name was David Russell. So as and David, the house of David is the one that came through the lineage. So I just like to play word games, and I love it because Pastor Rob likes to play word games. But when you play word games with them and you trick them and they say, "Oh, CIDP." Well, how can you be treating CIDP for 30 years if you only created the term in 2019 and you knew it was multiple sclerosis? You knew it was myalgic encephalomyelitis. You knew what it was, and you just changed the name because you're going to lie to everybody, and that's why I use that slide, who and why. And I'll send you a slide over because I modified it last night. We had a by the way, on our book club on the Wednesday, June 11th, from the 4 to 7 p.m., we'll be coming to you on our X Space Live. So that'll be in substitute for our normal Wednesday book club. We'll ask any question you want to ask. So you'll have time between now and then to do your summer reading or listen to your watch these movies, because that's what we're trying to get you to do. You're going on vacation. You're going to be with your family. They think you're crazy, but now they're starting to hear us. So you want to crank that up in the Airbnb, and they're like, "What's that?" Well, that's Dr. Daryl. That's Dr. Judy. That's Doc of Detox. And you're laughing because we're going to be funny. Mickey's always funny. I mean, I'm not usually funny, but it's just if I lead off, I can lay it up and then you could slam dunk it anytime you want. But I will tell you a funny story, and it'll be right. Riza Islam, the Nation of Islam. Everybody's like, "Oh, she keeps saying those words." Riza Islam. I mean, I'm standing on a street corner. The only time I've ever been to the CDC. I just get out of jail in 2014 or 15. It's raining. I don't take an umbrella because it doesn't rain in California. I'm just like, oh no. So I'm in front of the CDC. We're protesting. It's just a handsome, tall, black man in a red bow tie and a white shirt. And I'm standing there with my book. And I don't know what to do. People are spitting on us. All the employees are driving through the CDC, spitting on us. And Riza Islam comes up to me and he puts his jacket around me. I'm cold, I'm wet, I'm shivering. And he takes that book and he does a 9-minute interview, and he'll tell you about it. And so and it changes things. Even though all of those things were censored, this 14 long years, folks, and it's probably longer than 14, it's almost 16. They planned it all since our 2009 science paper. And if they can get as many of you injected by whatever means, the mosquito, the needle, you inject yourself, if you inject yourself with snake venoms, Ozempic, Dexicom, if you put that thing on you and you force insulin, you'll further drive your insulin like growth factor away from the balance. You're killing yourself the same way as growth hormone, because we've got to do lipophagy. We have to metabolize fat. We're fat because we don't metabolize fat. ADK and EB pollen Jana Schmidt. I don't know if we got her this time. Bee pollen. Sure, they pollinate the bees, and it's oily thing. When you drop it in your drink, it's a little oily thing. They'll say, what do I do with it? Well, do anything you want with it. Eat it. Put it in your yogurt. I don't care. Hopefully, it's clean Greek yogurt. I put mine right in the middle of my cardio miracle. And you see that it'll dissolve eventually, and it's just food. Propolis. What is propolis, Jana Schmidt? So the healing for the ages, across the ages, artist group, Ely, the water. Henry Ely will join us. The water. Our water doesn't conduct energy. It's dead. You put it in a microwave. Not a good idea. We're not, and seeing how good our God is, some people never get any food, any water, anything for decades. And then the glyphosates in the GMO food, which is 97% of it, everything in a grocery store is irradiated, so it's dead. You're not eating a raw diet. You're not eating organic because it's been synthesized or it's been sliced with metal things. So when we explain, and we won't do this part of it except to say the heroes of the faith and the healers of the faith hear me, and then they go off. Like in the case of anybody in ages, they brought me to the first meeting, and they just let me watch. And at the end of the meeting, after 4 days, I'm standing in the back of the room with James Grunwig, who invited me to Epoch Times. Epoch Times, March 6, 2020. It aired April 8th, 2020, before pandemic came out. That video, and the Chinese, they cut me off. I talked for a full 8 hours, and only one other person, Ted Fogarty. Radiation, 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 radiation. Now they don't need the bioweapon anymore because it's all around us. And that's why we need the cardio med beds. That's why we need practitioners who understand why you need a clapper for lymphatics before you do something like a theta machine, the Michelin man or the theta. These are all instruments, technologies that can be used and are being used by other heroes, like Sherry Tenpenny, who couldn't make it this time. But again, we'll say these things because these heroes are now hearing us, the ones who were in the beginning. They're like, you changed my life with that show, Judy. And they call me up, and they know I will always answer that phone. And even though that phone attacks me more than anything else, I'm not going to change that phone number because that's the only phone number I've ever had. And I'm going to make sure ET can phone home um, if they want to. So I'm learning to speak funny things like everybody else is. Mickey does it the best of all, but Brian Artis is fabulous. So Brian Artis, snake venom, he listened to me. So the end
Yeah,
of that meeting.
Brian Artis will be on right tomorrow on Sunday.
Correct. So Brian Artis, and we'll talk about that meeting 2 years ago, but I knew him well before that, or he knew of me. He loved us because we love him because he loved us first. Well, we see that love through the people like you, where you said at the very beginning of the show, we have to be patient. You and I yell a lot because we expect intelligence out of the audience. Well, you can't expect intelligence if you've never been educated. We're not talking about information. We're talking about knowledge. Hosea 4:6, we're talking about knowledge. We're not talking about information. Yet that's a microprocessor. That's a button on this computer. AI can't do knowledge. And we have to educate AI. We have to talk to AI. We have to be looking at it. And that's what I teach and other things. They're asking me. I said, will you tell me? Grok it, chat GPT it. and they tell me what they say. And we did this on my Sunday Funday at after church on Sunday. Sunday Funday is where the heroes of the faith come together at dinner at my house, because the most important day of the week is Sunday, and the people you have to talk to is your families. So all the leaders of the families, all the grandmothers with all the grandkids that think I'm just Looney Tunes, which I may well be, but it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm still right, because I'm only listening to the Holy Spirit and trying to be obedient. And I know that they can't hear me if I'm yelling, but Brian Artis, he listened. So I'm standing with James Grunvig in the back of the room at the first Healing for the Ages conference 2 years ago. And I'm watching the end of the 3 day meeting after we see the water, after we see all of that, knowing the lab, knowing the processing, knowing everything. And I'm standing back there with James Grunvik. We were there in the beginning, he with a severely injured child. And, all these years, James Grunvik and I have spent time together. And I'm just standing there again, like I am now, crying. And the tears are just running down my face. And Brian Artis said, Judy, come up here and get on the stage. And he said, did we get it right? And I said, oh, yeah, you did. And yeah, is it perfect? Nope. But they heard me and will stop the abortions of the kids in utero. Enter Jim Thorpe. We didn't get him this time, Dr. Jim Thorpe, but we will. Right there testifying in Congress alongside of Christina Parks. Ron Johnson, knew. Who wouldn't have a conversation with Bobby Kennedy or Ron Johnson in 2015, 16, 17? Frank Rossetti, because he doesn't believe in God. He's in ego. And it's all right. He saved humanity, but at the end of the day, if he's so angry and bitter, if he would just step out into love, like he won't call me today. And that hurts. First time ever. He didn't say happy anniversary. So that's why we need some healing.
We all need that, and that's why we need each other.
And that's what'll happen Sunday.
And it will. It will. We have so many beautiful people on Sunday. And just know this, everyone. Rafa, can you bring up the slide, please? And we can just talk about that with everyone and tell them what time we're starting and what Judy's going to be doing. So, Healers of the Faith, everyone. So it'll be Sunday. It starts at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have 18 of the top doctors, scientists, and people that they are true healers. And understand something. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. You can't be a healer unless you're brave. Okay? Without bravery, you're not really a healer, because understand something. The only people that get healed and stay healed are people that become brave. Okay? And they actually have unconditional love and caring for themselves first and foremost. And they shine that light on everybody else. So, you can't give what you haven't got. You can't give what you haven't got. And that's why Judy gives so much, because she's got so much. And she knows that she has unlimited possibility. And you know what? We need to act like what created us. Unlimited possibility. All right? And you're going to hear about unlimited possibility on Sunday, and it's Healers of the Faith. And Sunday, June the 8th, 11 a.m., 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Judy will be on Monday, okay, to answer any questions that come in, okay? So the best place to actually come on and ask them live, if you'd like to talk to her, is come on the Zoom. So you go to bhnuniversity.com, download the Zoom. And if you don't do that, we'll have somebody monitoring the restream. So we will get the questions off of Facebook and Telegram and a few of the other platforms that we're live on. So we'll have the questions from restream, and we'll have you asking questions live and written on Zoom. The Zoom will come first, though, because it's nice to be able to talk to people, isn't it? That's why Judy gives her phone number out. I give my phone number out, and it always will be given out. You know, it's the craziest thing. You know, I'll have some of the people that have been in health for a long time, and they go, I wouldn't give my phone number out. You know, people are insane. They'll ask you the dumbest questions. They'll keep you on there forever. You know what? I don't find that. I don't find that. We've got people desperately seeking the truth, desperately seeking their God-given right to actually, you know what? The first time that you understand that, guess what? The billionaires don't own this planet. The government doesn't own this planet. And the entity that crawls on its belly on this planet doesn't own this planet. And the game is fair, but guess what? We would all have to come together as family and stop judging each other. And that's what Healers of the Faith is all about. You're going to have a lot of different people that come from different parts of life, but we're all coming together. And understand, this is just one of many that we're going to do, okay? All right? You'll see Judy on other big one-day events that we're going to hold, because guess what? Everybody needs this message, and the message is called love. But remember, love is just an ingredient. It's what you do with it. So you got to self-serve it. And, you know, you got to take good care of yourself. You know what? Love yourself first and foremost, and then become the billboard for your children and everyone else you care for. So anyways, Monday, live Q&A, June the 9th, 12 till 2 p.m. And if there's more questions, we'll see. She can go longer if she wants. There's no time limit. We can't put a time limit on Judy. Good luck with that one. Wednesday, live Q&A, June the 11th from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like I said, go to BHN University if you want to talk to her directly. Judy, what would you like to say?
Yeah, exactly that. We'll stay on as long as you want in the questions. We have a time limit on Sunday just by, honoring these folks in their time. And I do think it might be Mickey Willis's birthday, so we want to make sure he can enjoy his family. But he's that kind of loving soul, and we are family, all of us. So yes, I'll keep answering questions. Wednesday night we can go as long as we want, because that's what we do on my book club. It'll be live on X, so we'll link the two together. We'll make sure Benoit knows, and we get everything together, that we're all linked together, because this is how we spread the love, is we share the love. But yeah, I love that when you say that. It's just an ingredient. It's what you do with it. Yeah.
Like everything, it's what we do with it. You know what? A lot of people are doing the same thing, but they have different intentions, and the outcome is completely different. You know, what's your intention? Why do you do what you do? Do you ever ask yourself that? Is it your love? Is it your passion? I'm going to tell you something. One of the lessons I learned, Judy, is that you put your heart into it, and the end result is none of my business. That's it. The end result is none of my business. I can see where I put energy into a patient, and it's just like, wow, look at that. I'll put even more energy into another patient, and it just jumps off. It just jumps off the cliff. You can't be looking for the same. You can't look for the same expectation every time you do something. It doesn't work that way in this world. And you got to get that. You love anyway. You love anyway. Okay? And you never know. You might have sown a seed that someone else waters, and they get the credit, but who really cares? It wasn't about us getting credit. Judy? She's frozen. Frozen in time. Okay. Anyways, everyone, I really want you to understand that we really do this for you. We bring all these
exactly. We're not.
Go ahead, love.
Oh, good. You're moving again.
You're
Yeah,
back.
I was just going to confirm what you just said. We're not responsible. We're not responsible for the outcome. We're responsible for the obedience. We're not responsible for, yeah, it's not us. We didn't do it. We're responsible only to obey God and do the best we can to speak the truth in love, to speak the truth into the person. The outcome it isn't up to us, and we don't get cut, like you said, in the credit. When you hear those things, the Nobel Prize. No, we don't care. That just shows you who's satanic. I mean, the first Nobel made dynamite, folks. Get a clue. Those aren't the men we revere.
No, that's the truth. The people that actually should be getting the Nobel Prize will never get the Nobel Prize, and that can never happen. Okay? And understand the people that they claim are saints are not saints, they're the opposite. And the people that they victimize are the ones that should have been the saints. So you know what? Welcome to the world. What's up is down and what's in is out. And that's it. Okay? But you know what? It's I wouldn't have it any other way. You have to speak with strength and courage, and you have to practice it. And if you can't do it with your family yet, or you cannot do it with the world, you practice in the mirror until you believe it. Okay? But you have to talk and speak with courage and authenticity, meaning that you must stand up for yourself. And if people started standing up for themselves, not standing against anyone, but standing up for themselves, this world would change overnight. Okay? And remember something. What if you did matter? What if you did matter? What if you mattered more than anything? Okay? Then you would shine that light. Judy, I think that you're all going to get the right type of vaccination, okay, on Sunday. And it's going to be an injection that is infectious, and it's called Courage, and it is going to come from the healers of the faith. What do you think, Judy?
Exactly. We're going to get a great injection of healers of the faith. Love, 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 love. So we're going to church, right?
Yes. Yes, we are. Is there anything you'd like to leave everybody with?
Just I'm looking forward to seeing everyone, and I love that, looking in the mirror. So if you can't say it out loud, just keep saying it until you can see it on your face. And I might even have to try that, because my husband used to, try to make me laugh because he didn't like that frown. So I have to learn to turn that frown upside down, because, again, it's not up to me, and God knew the outcome of all of this. Let's just get out there, because when we are one nation under God, indivisible, you can't divide us. You're going to see those people you think are the last people in the world, not only that would talk to me, but that would love me as much as they all did. So I'm looking forward to seeing my friends and being with you on Sunday, Dr. Darrell.
Thank you, Judy, and God bless you, girl.
God bless you.
All right, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm going to walk through a couple of slides here. Can you guys bring up the right slides? Can I have the slideshow, please? Thank you. All right. So we talked about Judy. I'm going to say it again. Go to BHN University and download that Zoom link if you would like to actually be part of the Q&A on Monday and Wednesday. All right. You'll be able to see us on most platforms. On Sunday, we'll be there all day long. And remember, it's only 20 minutes. Everyone comes on for 20 minutes. That's it. So you are going to get a lot of information very quick, and you're just going to be so full of power by the time you're done. Okay? All right? And just know this, the very next world event that we're doing is the Gold Care event, okay? And that will be, okay, with Dana H. Granberg Hill and Dr. Simone Gold. Come on, guys. Do you not remember seeing her standing out on the steps in front of Washington and with all the other doctors saying, we will not, we refuse to give the V. So now she started Gold Care, and she's going to have 18 doctors, scientists, and physicians that are now not just being held in this tight box of medical, they are now bridging the gap, medical to natural, okay? I mean, come on. That's the marriage we've been looking for, all right? So this is going to be one heck of a day, and that will be on Sunday, July the 13th. Again, there'll be a Monday live Q&A and a Tuesday live Q&A. You can watch for more updates on that, but they've already got their lineup. And so we will publish the lineup of people that are going to be on this show, and we'll probably do that in the next few days, okay? So don't forget, Healers of the Faith sale will be starting, and you might want to check that out, okay? All right? And just know this, everyone. I just want to thank the new government that's in America, because if it wasn't, we wouldn't be getting away with speaking our truth. That is the God's truth. We would not get away with speaking our truth. Now, just letting you know, we have put this up, banned from Facebook. We're only putting it up because we have been threatened that we will be taken down on all platforms. That's right. So we request that if you don't want to miss when we go dark, because we could go dark anytime. I'm not going to shut my mouth. That's not going to happen, okay? I'm going to keep doing what I do. If it means that I were to lose every platform except my bhnapp.com, it is meant to be, okay? I will always be free. So we are telling you that if you should download bhnapp.com and go check it out. It is the world's largest self-care, self-love app. But if you don't want to come on there, I get it. You're too busy. But guess what? When you can't find me, that's the only place I'll be after it's all said and done. Okay? Next thing. All right. There's the app. And it will be the app that unites everyone, because guess what? Okay? I am no race. I am no religion. Okay? I am no nationality anymore. Okay? I was created by God, and I'm going to act like it. And everybody on this planet is my brother or sister, no matter who hates who. It doesn't matter. I'm not participating. All right? And if you want to check out the app, you can look at it. There's so many things. You can track a perfect day. How do you make a perfect day for yourself? And then track it and then tweak it. Because isn't it about your life? And then news and events that are coming up. I mean, news and events that are based on unconditional love and care, and how we're going to make this a beautiful planet to be on, okay? New World Practitioner Map, if you're looking for someone who does whole life coach or Wolfe Non-Surgical. Our Evolve, listen to me, our Evolve section is the largest masterclass library in the world, free. And understand something, you will not get education like this even if you were a naturopathic doctor, or even if you went to chiropractic school. You're not going to get the training. You go through my master classes, and I'll tell you something, you'll be able to hold a conversation with anyone, and yours will be logical, okay? And actually, an 8-year-old could understand it, and no doctor could refute it after you really understand what life is really about and how health really works. Connect with brave hearts all around the world, people just like you. I can't meet anybody that I like. I can't meet anybody that, has the same beliefs as I do. Well, that's what that's about. Okay, mindful moment reminder. Okay, let me tell you something. The mindful moment reminder is where this little ding goes off, or a nice little bell, or a tone that just reminds you to get into the eternal moment. Did you notice I didn't say present moment? I said eternal moment. You know what? How long is a moment? Wait, it's gone. I mean, before I even say the word moment, it's gone. I'm going to tell you something. When I when I went off to college, okay, we used to meditate every morning, and I would do a meditation every night. There was a lot of meditation going on, okay, because we're all trying to search for something. We didn't even know what we were searching for back then, but we were searching for it. That was the main thing. And the reality is that what I finally realized after a while, and I'm telling you, I still pray, I still meditate, I contemplate, but let me tell you something right now. You need to do the walking meditation. That's what I do. The walking meditation is keeping a slight smile on your face from the moment you rise until you close your eyes. And I connect to what's called the lion heart breath. You can do any other breath you want, but if you don't know your breathing, and if you're not focused on your breath, and you don't have a slight smile, you're not going to have the life you want. You're going to have to work your butt off. I know people that make really great money in the natural health field, but the reality is you can tell it's wearing them down, okay? It's wearing them down, because guess what? It's not about making money, okay? It was about... Well, first of all, when I first got into natural health, it wasn't about making money. I just wanted someone to tell me that I was worthy. I wanted somebody to give me approval, and because I didn't feel I had any worth. By the time when I first started natural health, it was like, I almost felt like, because back then in natural health, we were all victimized, and who in the hell do you think you are practicing natural health? You're not a doctor. I just love when people say, you're not a real doctor, Dr. Wolfe. No, I'm just a real boy. Okay, you got to understand something. The majority of the population still hasn't woken up, okay, yet. And I'm not saying they won't. Everybody says there's a great awakening, but I believe that a great awakening only happens on a personal level. I haven't seen it happen for a nation yet, or even a neighborhood. So I'm still waiting for that one. But the reality is, okay, is that, you're never going to have a great awakening unless you're going to really start understanding what the eternal moment is, and that you need to connect to your breath, have a slight smile on your face, and you need to stop reacting. Stop reacting. See if you can just go neutral. Go neutral for, oh yeah, but I'm a human being. I've got emotions. No, how about practicing being neutral instead of being all over the place, up and down? All these emotions. Understand that's how we're all slaves. We're slaves on this planet because we can't master our emotions, so we can't master our health. We can't master our wealth. Most of you actually believe that poverty, okay, is something that you're born with. No, it's something you're programmed with. And the people that are poor have poverty consciousness, especially, okay, in America. Seriously, okay? I'm going to tell you something. Find your passion, find your purpose, okay? And find what you're good at, what you love, and I'm telling you, everything else will follow. They get us to chase money. They get us to chase money. They get us to compete against each other. How's that working? Anyways, the Braveheart Nation app is hopefully something that'll help to bring us all together. But before we can come all together, we need to love, honor, and respect ourselves unconditionally. We need to stop judging ourselves. And that's why I built the app. That's the only reason why I built the BHN app. All right, I'm going to tell you something. I never want any praise. I don't want thank you. And understand, and I totally mean that. Everything I do, okay, is yours. I don't need thanks for nothing, okay? I serve my source, my creator, and that's a personal relationship, and understand that. I can't do enough for my brothers and sisters on this planet. And you can believe it or not believe it or think it. I'm just giving you a pitch, but I'm not. I can't do enough. I want to do more. And that's what we need to do. We need to know that we can do more. We can do more for each other. We can be better to ourselves. We can be better to each other. Dr. Sage Wolfe is in Stuart, Florida. He will be doing treatments until June the 10th, Wolfe Non-Surgical, cell sonic regeneration, cardio med bed, thermography, and consultations. Then he goes to St. Louis, Missouri to do the same thing. You can catch him at, if you can see the number, great, but if not, go to bhnuniversity.com. You'll get all the phone numbers, and you can book an appointment if you so desire. He then goes to Los Angeles, California, and he'll be working at the Transformational Clinic downtown LA, and he will be there on July the 31st to August the 7th. Then he goes to Montreal, Quebec, and he'll be going to Christine's Power Pack Center, and he will be doing all of the same treatments: Wolfe Non-Surgical, cell sonic regeneration, thermography, consultations, heavy metal testing. Again, go to bhuniversity.com or call Christine if you can see the slide, okay? And then here is what he's doing, the treatments and consultation tour. These are all the cities, all right? And then he's also going to be teaching next week. I think it's next week. I can't see the date from here. The date. Okay, I can't see the date. They've got it too small. But he's going to be next week. He's going to be in Calgary, Canada. There's another 2 spots left for the Wolfe Non-Surgical in Calgary. And also, there's 3 spots left for the Women's Pelvic Restoration course. It's a 3-day course in Calgary. Go to bhnuniversity.com or call Lorraine in Calgary. And then we'll be in Ixtapas, Mexico, and we will be doing all 3 courses: Whole Life Health, Wolfe Non-Surgical, Women's Pelvic Restoration 3-day course. And that will be starting on October the 29th, okay? You got to come down. It's beautiful here, and we've really set it up right. And we'll be teaching the Whole Life Health out of the Braveheart Nation studios. The Wolfe Non-Surgical course will be taught out of the DoD 5-star Health and Healing Retreat, okay? Anyways, these are all the platforms that we're on, and you'll be able to send your questions in on Sunday as well. You'll be able to send them in not on Sunday, my apologies. You can send questions in on Sunday. We will collect all the questions from that day, and then Judy will be answering those, plus the questions that you'll send in on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, Telegram, and BitChute, okay? If you ever want any of the audios from any of our shows, just go to any of these audio platforms and you can download the audios. We have a fulfillment center, guys. We are in Australia. We're in Melbourne. In Canada, we're in Kelowna, British Columbia. And United States, we are in Texas. So we have fulfillment centers in all of these countries, all right? So it just gets your products there quickly. All your products are sent out that day. If you really like our products, you can become an affiliate partner. Go to docofdetoxpartner.com, and then you can make commission by sharing the products with your family or giving them the discount that you get, okay? Also, any of you that are natural health practitioners, you can call me directly or call the office. They'll put you over to me. If you would like to carry our products, you can become a wholesale buyer seller. Thank you. Okay, and make sure you join us for our DoDPowerPack.com. This is where we actually do the impossible. Okay, we take the irreversible and we reverse it. Understand something. I don't care what the medical system is saying or other natural health practitioners. If I actually tell you that we can help you, I am not doing it because I am some kind of money monger. Okay, I am telling you that we can do it. And if you don't see the results you want in the very first treatment, okay, that we are giving you your strength, your range of motion, we're reducing your pain, you can walk differently, you can move your arm differently, you can move your body differently, don't pay us. That's as good as it gets. Okay? All right. Just know this, our Power Pack, if you go to DoDPowerPack.com, take a look at our cell sonic regeneration. It is the most powerful pulse head, shock head on the market for the price. And you also get a $10,000 training with it. The Wolfe Whole Life Health certified and Wolfe Non-Surgical certified, and the pelvic course. Okay? And we also do the same thing with our cardio med bed. You get a $10,000 training with it. Nobody else does this, and nobody beats our price. And also, even on our cell sonic regeneration, our pulse head has 500,000 pulses. Most of them only have up to 50,000 pulses. And nobody supports our practitioners like we do. Weekly meetings, Practitioners will call me up. I'll build their programs, tell them exactly what to do. Okay. And just know that we have financing, okay, in North America for the cardio med bed and the cell sonic regeneration. And we also have financing, believe it or not, for all our courses for all our American family and friends. Okay. All right. We have financing. All right. And I'm coming to you from DOD, 5-star World Healing and Training Retreat here in Ixtapa, Zihuatanejo, Mexico. And just letting you know, everyone, that we are building another one, okay, in St. Cloud, Florida, on Jim Gale's Food Forest Abundance property, and it will be opening up in the new year, okay? And that will be our American Training and Healing Center up there. And then we'll have a Training Healing Center here in Ixtapa, Zihuatanejo still. And then we also have another DOD 5-star clinic opening up in Kelowna, British Columbia, and that'll be opening up in the next 3 weeks. Okay? Again, if you've ever wanted to learn the Wolfe Non-Surgical and you can't make it for one of our trainings, Dr. Sage Wolfe will fly anywhere around the world to certify you or come and just teach your family and how to not limp, okay? Go from a limp to a cane to a walker to a wheelchair. This is all BS. Dysfunctional belief systems. And guess what? You're all sucker punched. I remember when I was younger, I only remember my uncle with a cane. I saw maybe a couple people in wheelchairs, but now we could get run over by a bloody wheelchair, those electric ones, or by one of those electric carts that everybody's in. I'm telling you, the only virus on this planet is victimitis, and the medical system have taught everyone that the human body doesn't heal anymore and that it's drugs and surgery or you're going to suffer for the rest of your life. And understand, people don't think about this consciously. It's a subconscious program that is destroying our brothers and sisters everywhere. And people are being harvested, just like as if you went to the butcher. So understand something. You're either going to go from patient to practitioner, victim to hero, or guess what? You better buckle up. It's going to be a really bumpy ride, especially in these next few years with this new transition, because there's a revolution coming. Okay? All right. Here's the pricing. As you can see, we brought all our pricing down by about 35% to 40% on all our courses. And we cannot bring it down any further for anybody, or else we won't have courses. But we will do everything we possibly can to help everyone become what the best that they can. Okay? All right. Like I said, we have financing on all our courses and our equipment. All right? And if you're interested in a perfect day consultation, everyone, okay, you can get a consult from one of my master practitioners for $150. Or if you want one from me, it's $350. You can call me directly, or you can call Cynthia and you can go, $350? Well, I'm going to give you lifetime support. I'm going to do a consult for you, a 1-hour consult. I'm going to send you the audio. And I'm going to give you lifetime support. I don't care how often you call me, because I am your coach, I am your trainer, I am your guide, and we're going to be friends. That's what we're going to be, and we're going to talk like it, and we're going to be equals. And I'm just there to help to support you, to give you the most beautiful life from the moment you rise until you close your eyes. And so does my master practitioner. So, you know, you can pay $150, or you're going to have to pay me $300, not have to do anything. But $350, but guess what? I will always give you more than I take, and that's the God's truth. All right. This is our Braveheart clothing. If you want to check it out, it's up on our website. Okay? And we've got hats, we've got sweaters, we've got tees. And don't forget, everyone, the Ultimate Healing Guide is the Perfect Day Guide. Why don't you download it? pdgfree.com, and then ask yourself and say, hey, does this guy know what he's talking about? Is it logical? Did I just get the most powerful guide free to actually learn how to start loving and caring for myself and my family? You better believe it. There's hundreds of thousands of hours in that. And it's my gift to you. It's my gift to everyone. And if you love it, it's $95 delivered to the door. But I want everybody to understand something, okay? This has only happened this one time. And we just put it on sale. You buy one, you get one free. We have never, ever done that before. So if you want to get a real copy and give it to a friend or a family member, you buy one, get one free. You'll see it right up on the website. I'm doing 100 from the United States, 100 from Canada, and 50 from Australia. Once they sell, we can't do any more. Not at this price. It's a 550-page beautiful manual. If you could grab it for me, I'll show them. And my Healthy to 100 book, you can download it. This is the first real big book I've ever wrote. This is a lot of personal things in it. If you want to know the whole scoop on poop and have something to read that I think has a lot of humor in it, go ahead and read it. I think, let's put it this way. 2 universities had nurses read it, and they just said I tried to rewrite health and that I need to be stopped. So there must be something good in it, okay? And this is the perfect day guide, everyone. This is no little feat, okay? This is hundreds of thousands of hours of take action steps on how you can heal and love yourself emotionally, physically, nutritionally, on every level, okay? It's called the Perfect Day Guide, all right? Okay, and like I said, it's always been this way for me, I'll tell you. It's self-care, not health-care. Healthcare, my butt. Look at the majority of your family's always going to go to healthcare. Okay? All right? Because they've been taught that they don't have the brains to look after themselves or love and care for themselves. Okay? And that is the biggest crime on this planet. Okay? This is why we're victims. This is why we're limping. This is why we're in nursing homes, okay? Nobody should be in nursing homes. And then when you get to nursing homes, they poison you. $3.50 to $3.75 a day they give to people the food. I'm going to tell you something. I went to Lori's mother's. She was in another nursing home a few months ago. I came out of there, and I can take a lot. I was disturbed. I was absolutely disturbed, okay? Now she's in a better one. How in the hell do we get away, or do they get away with treating these beautiful women and men that have raised children, that have built this country? How do they get away with doing this? How do they get away? And you got to sneak stuff in. You got to sneak nutritionals in to these nursing homes, and then they'll throw them out. Oh, I've heard it all. I've heard it all. You know what? You can believe this or not believe this. We went to visit her, and we were walking through, and there was a little old lady in a wheelchair. And do you know what she said to me? She grabbed my hand when I was walking by, this hand. She was right here. She grabbed my hand. And do you know what she said to me? Take me. Take me. Do you know what she was saying? Take me the heck out of here. Okay? All right? Anyways, I'm not one to judge. I'm not going to judge. I'm just going to observe. But couldn't we have done better? You know what? The only permanent love is self-love. And understand, I want you to really give that some thought today. How many times have you been hurt? Okay? Because you made somebody responsible for filling up your heart. It's your heart. Look for that God spot in it. Spark it. And fill your own heart up every day and watch how your life changes. And that's the truth. I've been doing it for years. When I started doing it, people would say, you're going to go to hell. You're teaching selfishness. Oh, really? Self-love is selfishness. Looking after yourself is selfishness. I don't expect anything except something like that from the majority of the population. And it's not their fault. And we're going to love them anyway, aren't we? And we're going to have unconditional love for everybody. Okay? And remember something, if you just love and care for the people that have the same beliefs as you, good luck changing. That's all I'm going to say. So to rise, you're going to have to learn how to first love yourself and then shine that light on all your brothers and sisters. We are Braveheart Nation, and we are stronger when we rise together. Okay? All right? I want to thank everybody for joining me today. And just like I said, we are going to get banned sometime. So join bhnapp.com or at least, download the Perfect Day Guide and we'll have your email. I promise I'll only tell you when we have sales or when we have events. I'm not going to hassle you or ever do that, okay? Because I don't want it. I'm not going to give it, all right? Thank you for joining me. And just know this: you matter. This is your planet. Okay? Take your life back. God bless.